Welcome back. By now, you understand how to set up accounts for your organization by using AWS organizations and all its features. Now, let's see how we can provide access to your team members to each account via AWS Identity and Access Management. You have a user and you need to provide them access to the Prod A account. You can manage this in AWS IAM. Let's look at some of the features of AWS IAM or IAM Identity Center. In AWS IAM, you start off with an IAM user or IAM group, which is a group of users. You can provide a user or a group of users with programmatic access. Remember, everything in technology is basically coded on a computer. Developers generally like to develop via coding. So they will generally log into an account via the AWS command line. When you choose this option, you provide users with an access key and secret access key. This is like their username and password. If developers prefer a programming language that they understand more, like Java or Python, they can use the AWS Software Development Kit. With this option, you provide users with an access key and secret access key as well. Like how you log into Facebook via a browser, you can also log into the AWS Management Console on a browser. With this option, you provide users username and password to log in. As you're providing users access, AWS also recommends adding multi-factor authentication for each user. This is adding an extra layer of protection by requiring users to add an authentication device. The device can be your phone, USB drive, or any authentication app that will provide a second piece of information for your users to gain access. This process of logging is called authentication. Once your users have logged into AWS, they need permissions to the AWS resources. You can use IAM policies to provide them with that permission. IAM policies are JSON documents that are used to allow and or deny users access to the AWS services. This process is called authorization. Once your users are authorized, they will have access to the AWS resources. Some resources have a built-in feature that enables you to build resource-based policies. Resource-based policies are like IAM policies since you can use JSON to provide allow and or deny permissions. However, their difference since IAM is at the user group, or account level, and resource-based policies are at the service level. We will look at an example of that later in the course. The next feature we will talk about is IAM roles. Remember when I said applications and AWS services need authentication and authorization to gain access to AWS services? Because again, underneath everything is computers connecting and communicating with one another? Well, you can provide access to applications and AWS services via IAM role. You can also provide IAM role access to external users as well. The way this works is that you create a trusted entity in AWS IAM role. Then you can use IAM policies and resource-based policies to provide permissions for your resources. To better understand this, let's look at an example. Imagine an external consultant you hire to help you on a project. You don't add an external party into your internal user group because that would not satisfy the security best practice of released privileged model. Instead, you can create an IAM role, and they can assume that role and gain access only to certain resources that you define in your policies. Another example of this Let's say that you organize and provide permissions to your users via third-party application, such as Facebook, and you don't want to recreate that in AWS IAM. You can create a trusted entity, an IAM role, and then create a trust between the IAM role entity and the third-party application. From there, you can provide permission via policies. This is called IAM Identity Federation. There's more to why companies would choose to manage users in this way, but that will be covered in the associate and professional courses. That wraps up our AWS IAM service at a high level and should cover anything that might pop up on the exam. As always, thank you for your support. For the full course, slides, practice exam, and labs, please visit our website at hivetechcorp.com. For feedback, questions, and comments, please message me directly at info@hivetechcorp.com.